Hi, I'm Amy, thanks for tuning in. I've got a massive haul video for you this time. I've been trying not to buy too many books this year, and yet I'm looking at this stack in front of me and thinking that I haven't really succeeded. I have been using the library more and listening to audiobooks, but for some reason I can't seem to stop myself from seeing, I think, buying books as a separate hobby from reading them, and I'm just buying more books at the moment than I can actually read. But I mean, I enjoy that part of the hobby, so I'm trying not to be too hard on myself. So let me know at the end of this video, let me know in the comments if you think that there's anything that I should prioritise reading in this stack, and that will really help me out. So first of all, I've got a pile of books. There's a little table in front of me and they won't all fit on the table, so I'm going to go through the pile of books on my knee and then I can move those out the way. So I've just seen Fourth Wing so many times. I'm not sure that it is my thing, but it's appeared on so much social media that I felt it necessary to read, so I pre-ordered the paperback, and when it came out, I think it came out during this period since I've last recorded one of these hauls, I thought I'd give it a go. Don't know much about it apart from fantasy dragons and kissing. Not sure if it's, I feel like it's one of those where it's adult but people say it reads quite YA, which should suit my reading taste, so I do need to give that one a go. This one, it ended up being not quite what I expected when it arrived. It's by, if you recognise the girl on the front of the book, it's by one of the actresses from One Tree Hill, Hilary Burton Morgan. The title, Grimoire Girl Creating Inheritance of Magic and Mischief, just really appealed to me. It's sort of a grimoire that she's been collecting over the course of her life. I expected it to be a little bit more substantial somehow. I expected this great big grimoire, but I think it should still be a really good read, so I'm interested to see what that's about. I read Kingdom of the Wicked earlier this year, finally, for the first time, and was absolutely obsessed. So I went and bought second-hand copies, and I was quite pleased when one came and it was a nice Regis edition. I don't know which order these are in, so Kingdom of the Cursed and Feared. Hopefully I'll get to these pretty soon because I really, really liked the first book. I thought that for a not very frequent fantasy reader like me, it was a good introduction to fantasy. It didn't feel too heavy. I've heard that these are more fantasy as you go into the series, but because I've been eased in and I like the world and the characters, I think it should be fine. So next huge stack of books. I didn't realise that there were fangirl graphic novels, and I absolutely love the book Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. It's just a really wholesome story of twins who go to college. One of them is finding the experience quite pleasurable and settled in really well, and the other one feels a bit awkward, and it's about sort of making friends, romance, and just figuring out who you are when you go to college or uni. And I related to the characters quite a lot in this, so I'm excited to see how it's been put together. I really, really like the picture on the back. And I think, you know, if you've heard as well of the Simon and Baz books that Rainbow Rowell writes, the main character, Kath, if I remember it right, she is writing a fanfic about Simon Snow and Baz. I think that it's a series of books that exist in this world, and she's writing her own version of the last book. So that's a nice little tie-in because I really enjoy the Simon and Baz books as well. Then I had a little slip in the works. I shouldn't walk in there because I can't walk out without a pile of books. This one, I've just been enjoying sort of wholesome, witchy, cozy books lately. So Do Your Worst is described as the adventure romance of my dreams on the front. And it's about an occult expert and a disgraced archaeologist walk into a castle on the back. So it's about a girl who has the chance to turn her family's knack for the supernatural into a legitimate business when she's hired to break the curse on an infamous Scottish castle. I mean, I don't think I need to read any more than that. I was just sold. Also, I have a bit of a thing for cowboy romances, it seems. I haven't actually read that many of them yet, but I've always enjoyed westerns and the idea of sort of setting up a frontier society. So I don't know if this is modern or kind of historical cowboys. I'm assuming it's modern from the sound of it, but the cover just drew me in for this one. And I've really enjoyed precisely one Tessa Bailey book so far. It Happened That Summer, I think it's called. So of course I'm buying more books of hers that I can actually keep up with reading. I might take this one on holiday with me because it seems like it'll be a nice beachy read. Then I walked into Waterstones and bought this book, and people have proceeded to tell me that it is the most extreme of extreme horror. It's about a serial killer sort of from his perspective, I think. I don't know much about it. It's quite short. I'm a little bit scared about whether I'll be able to cope, but it'll be interesting. I've been pushing my boundaries with horror a little bit, so I'm wondering if this one might be a good way to kind of push myself a little bit further. This pile of books is already teetering, so I think we're gonna have a book avalanche at some point. And then this one, I mean, based on the cover, I'm guessing it's a spicy vampire book. I just liked the sound of the blurb. It says, hundreds of years ago, she was known as Lama Lynch, a Nahua woman, I'm really sorry about my pronunciation, who translated for the conquistador Cortez. In the century since, her name has gone down in infamy as a traitor, but no one ever found out what happened to Lama Lynch after Cortez destroyed her people. In the ashes of the empire, she was reborn as Malin Nali, an immortal vampire, and she's become an avenger of conquered peoples, travelling the world to reclaim their stolen artefacts and return them to their homeland. I just love the fact of somebody using their immortality to do something like that. I just think it's great. I don't know where the spice comes into it, but we will see. Next, I pre-ordered this book. Haven't had a chance to read any Christina Henry yet, but her name just keeps coming up repeatedly as a really exciting voice in horror. I'm assuming that this one is a haunted house book. I don't really want to read the blurb because I'd like to be surprised. But I did glance that it says, single mom Harry Adams has always loved horror movies. When she's offered a job cleaning for revered horror director Javier Castillo, she leaps at the chance. So that really piqued my interest. I love stuff that ties into horror movies. Next we have a small library haul. I've been really enjoying dark academia lately, and my library seems to have quite a good stock of those. So I got Babel, I don't know how to pronounce it. Please let me know in the comments. And Hellbent, because I've been enjoying the Ninth House series. This is the second book, and the story of Alex Stern and secret societies and lots of intrigue and a touch of murder, which is how I like my books. You know, maybe more murder would be good, but I'm not complaining. And next I got sent a proof of this. It's Lex Crouch's new book. I think this one is published by Bloomsbury. It comes out in August, so thank you for that. It's called Not for the Faint of Heart, and it is a sapphic Robin Hood book. And I don't think it's too much of a spoil to say there is a really cute reference to the Disney Fox version of Robin Hood, one of my favourite versions, right at the beginning of the book. And so far it's got Lex's trademark wit and humour and beautifully effortless writing. I think when you read Lex's books you're just immediately transported to a different time and place, and I'm just really excited. The beginning is great. The next thing I've got is a stack of the Stephen King Ultimate Storyteller editions. Sadly, I think these are the last ones, so unless they bring out any more, I hope they do with the newer editions of his books, because it'd be a shame if now my books didn't match. Sob. So I'll show you the ones that we've got in the last batch. The Dead Zone is a book that I have read and really enjoyed. I read it quite a long time ago. When I read On Writing, this one was heavily mentioned, which is Stephen King's sort of part memoir, part guide to his writing, which is really interesting if you're interested in writing. It references this one a lot. I did enjoy it. It's about somebody, if I remember correctly, a teacher wakes up after an accident, after being in a 5-year coma, and realises that he can see people's futures and pasts, and he uses it to try and change some things that he's seen that are going to happen. Don't know anything about Lacey's story apart from that it turns up on quite a lot of people's lists of Stephen King books that they like. So I'm excited to try this one. Again, Elevation, short for Stephen King. I don't really know anything about it. It's set in the small town of Castle Rock, which rings a bell. I feel like other Stephen King books might have been set there. This is a Stephen King book which I won't be reading, Pet Sematary. If you know why, you know why. I have a young child, so I'm going to be giving this one a miss until the child is, you know, a teenager probably. It's terrifying, it's really atmospheric and really good, but it's just not for me right now. Another one I've not read, look how chunky it is, Hearts in Atlantis. Don't know much about it, but I am determined to try and read all of the Stephen King books. Another chunky one, about a writer, which could be interesting, about his wife dies unexpectedly and he suffers from writer's block until he's drawn to his summer home, the beautiful lakeside retreat called Sarah Laughs. Sounds pretty creepy. I'm not sure about that. I know that this one is meant to be great. My friend Sharon from Sharon Joy Reads is a big fan of this, so I'm going to make sure that I read this one soon since it's come in the collection. Let's see, is that it on that pile? We've got Carrie. I'm sure Carrie doesn't need me to speak it up. It's one of the first Stephen King books that I read. I think it was the first one that Stephen King wrote that he dropped in the bin and his wife rescued. It's really good. It is the story of Carrie, who discovers that she has, I think it's telekinetic powers. Yeah, telekinetic powers. I'm never very good at the words for the different types of abilities. And, you know, things go very badly wrong very quickly for just about all involved. The Dark Half, I don't know much about this one, but it's just part of the collection, so I'm going to make sure I read it. I think I have read From a Buick 8, but it probably needs a reread because I can't remember much about it. So next one, Revival, is one that I've wanted to read for a while. I seem to think it's got some sort of theme park setting as part of it, which I always really enjoy. And Jumiki also comes up as a pretty popular Stephen King book, I think. I love the kind of allusion to piracy on the front. I'm quite into pirate stuff. I don't think, knowing Stephen King, it's probably going to be a pirate book, but who knows. Next up, a book, I don't think I've hauled this one, apologies if you've seen this before. This is a book that Walker Books sent me. I think it's come out this year. It says at the back, "Come to the circus, scream at the monster. Beaked, feathered, monstrous, Evita Fortuna was born to be a star. Her show sells out nightly and every performance incites blood-curdling screams. But when a handsome young artist arrives to create posters of the performers, she's appalled by his portrayal of her. Evita is much more than razor-sharp teeth and ruffled feathers, and she'll risk everything to prove it." This sounds quite interesting, so I'm looking forward to giving that one a go. This one, I am a massive fan of Fight Club. I love the book. I love the movie even more. And this is a newer Chuck Palahniuk book. I've never quite known how to say his name. And it says on the back, "Are you there, Satan? It's me, Madison." So a Judy Blume nod. He gets a yes from me immediately. This chunky tome is the sequel, I think, to Carissa Broadbent's, oh yeah, the Nightborn Duet book 1, which I am in the process of reading and really enjoying, that reads like kind of an adult vampire Hunger Games. This one, I went to MCM at Comic Con and a lovely author walked up to me called Stephanie Catella, I think you pronounce it, and she gave me a copy of her middle grade book, The Ghost of Hawkthorne. It says on the back, 12-year-old eco-activist turned detective Ava Frylander doesn't remember falling over the cliffs into the raging waterfall at Laurel Leaf Park. All she knows is Tony is dead and it wasn't an accident. She braves Hawkthorne's grungy underground tunnels where, according to local legend, souls of the recently departed roam, hoping to conjure her best friend's ghost and identify his killer. When she's chased off by a groaning black shadow, Ava manages to escape, but she's not the only one who emerges from the tunnels. That sounds so good. Thank you, Stephanie. I can't wait to read this. Also on the subject of MCM Comic Con, these were two of the panellists that I did an event with, Nadia Attia and Karen Warren. Their books both sounded really creepy and gothic, and just unique and interesting. I didn't get a chance to read the books because I was sent them just before doing the panel. So thank you to the publisher. I think it's, yeah, Viper Books. I'm hoping to get these read soon because both are lovely people and their books sounded great. Also jumping on the hype wagon, I keep seeing Powerless everywhere. I know the editor who is now working on these books, Yasmin, who I worked with at Scholastic on the Taste of Darkness anthology, and Yaz keeps talking about this book and saying how great it sounds, so I thought I would give it a go. And finally, another one that was sent by a publisher that I didn't know much about. This one is from Zephyr Books. 16-year-old adopted Tara has questions about who she is, where she belongs, why she dreams. When her nightmares darken, fears swarm like a flock of ravens, and she traces her visions to the sacred Ilumo rock in Nigeria. Tara begins a journey into the past to seek the truth of her roots and the spirits that pursue her. That sounds creepy and wonderful. Next, we have a few spooky items. I bought this jigsaw. I absolutely love it. It looks amazing. Makes me laugh that it says age 7+ on the front when it features terrifying horror movies. I like the fact that there are little details from all different films, like these masks. So when I have a spare, couple of hours, I might get started on that. At some convention recently, I saw this and it was a really expensive one that somebody was selling. So I went and managed to find one on eBay. I love the crow, so I thought I needed a little Eric Draven to add to my collection. And I went to Whitby Goth Fest recently. Highly recommend if you're looking to purchase spooky items. I got this little ghost face and this little Jason mask. You can put a tea light underneath this one and it lights up. I can't remember who the artist is who made these. It was from a shop in Whitby and I was hoping there'd be a name, but sadly not. But if you want to try and track these down online, they're really cool. If you put Whitby, hopefully you'll be lucky. So that's it. Bit of an eclectic haul, so many books. Please let me know in the comments, as I mentioned before, if you recommend any, because that will help me to target my reading. As always, likes and subscribes are really appreciated, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!
house.